all together, then you can just apply that script to obstacles only. Then you do not need to compare the tag at all, right? Because we were
Okay,
doing in
so
the move left script.
okay, I see an option of add a tag. So I add a tag and name
Yes.
it obstacle, and it should work.
So that you have to first add a tag. You have to give the name of the tag, which is like the obstacle or say obstacle 1, 2, 3 or whatever. Then you have to again choose the same object, and from the drop down you have to choose the tag. So it will create the tag first, and then in the next step you have to assign the tag. So by default it will just only create. It will not assign. So it's a two-step process.
Okay.
If the tag is not
Okay, I
created by
created
default.
it. I assigned it. Okay. Understood. I'll
and
try
then
it out and
and
I'll
and now you have to say you have to attach this obstacle tag to all the three
all
obstacles
the
that you have
three. Correct.
created, and you have to override the prefab. Then only it will work.
Correct.
Now you
Yeah,
don't need
I'll
that
do that.
now you don't need that or condition. So just to avoid a like cases like this, only we have this tag feature, right? So like you can divide, you can put labels or tags on different game objects, right? So one could be an obstacle, one could be enemy, one could be a power up or a health up or health down, right? So there could be
Mm,
different things. So falling from a building or getting hit by a bullet, both will cause the health down thing. Okay. So just
mm,
to segregate or put similar game objects and their behavior together, we have this tag feature. And if you
got
made a
it.
separate script, just like we were doing in the move, why do we need the tag thing? Because we are doing it in the move left script, which is attached to multiple game objects, not just one game object. So in order to
Mm,
identify, destroy only the obstacle thing, we are doing the compare tag. If you have created a separate script like destroy out of bounds, and you are applying it to only obstacles, then you don't need to do that compare tag thing, because that script is only attached to the obstacle. So whenever it crosses X limit, it should destroy itself. That's it. So when my
correct.
script is attached to multiple game objects, and I want to apply a certain behavior to one of these objects, then I need to do this compare tag or find by name or some other double checking, so that it destroys only the specific object and not the other objects. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll making the change and I'll see if it work hopefully. Yeah.
Okay. So guys, there is a notification for all of you. So today's class we will finish by 8, hard stop at 8. And like I did, I covered a lot of things yesterday. So the idea was me to finish the thing, and you can just see me doing it, and maybe do it mentally. And then when you get some time and finish the unit, because we were lagging behind our goal. Okay, so today as well, I'll try to finish this unit. If we get some time remaining, then we can take up your doubts or any questions that you might have. And tomorrow as well, I'll try to finish the unit 5. So we are skipping unit 4 because of the crunch of time. So I'll finish unit 3 today and unit 5 tomorrow, so that for the next 10 days, the remaining, I think, 8 days of this month or 9 days, you can practice and finish all the 4 units, 1, 2, 3, and 5, along with assignments and the quizzes and the bonus features. And then we can discuss any doubts that you have. Okay. So today we will stop at 8, and tomorrow also we will stop at 8. And then next week I will not be there on Monday and Tuesday. I will be available on Wednesday and Thursday. Yes, Rashekar, you have, okay, the hand is gone now. Okay, right. So we will continue from our step 3 now, not the step 3, basically the 3.3. So we are doing the third section of the third unit, right? Let me share my screen, and I'll just first of all show what we want to achieve. I think Professor Gautam has already completed that. So I'll just show you guys what is our end goal. Okay, so if you see this window, then I don't know if the audio is shared, but you have to make, so currently our player is jumping, the obstacles are also coming, the background is also moving, but there is no animation. Animation as in my player is just standing. We want to have these leg movements, and there has to be a sound. Uh, there has to be two sounds. One is the default game sound. When my game is running, there has to be a background music that needs to be played. And whenever I make a jump, there has to be a separate sound effect coming. And whenever I hit an obstacle or my player hits an obstacle, I want a different sound and a particle effect sort of a thing to be played, right? You see these particles coming out. Okay, so this is what we want to achieve in like today's session. Okay, so I'll just start. So if you guys want to do it along with me, you do it, and if you want to do it mentally, that is also fine, right? Because we need to finish it so that you guys get a lot of time to spend. So basically, for the next 8 days, apart from the weekend, so next 5 days, you are on. You can do it on your own. I will be there, like on only on 2 days, and I can help you out. And maybe from September onwards, you keep working on your project. I think your midterms are from 14th. So you keep working on a project, and as and when you have a doubt, we can do have a session, and I can help you out. If you have any ideas, you discuss your ideas. We can sit together and list chop out a plan how to achieve that idea or how to build that game. We can divide them into small modules. All of that we can do it starting September. Okay. So I'll just switch over to Unity. I'll just play it for you once so that we know what is going on. And I don't want to. Why do we have a barrel here and why do we have obstacle here? Okay, I'll just delete those and let's see how it works. Right, so my player is not moving. Okay, and my background is also going away. Why is that? Maybe I made some. Let me do Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, and Control Z. Okay, okay, okay. That is fine. Repeat background. Obstacle. The obstacle shouldn't be there. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, now it should work. Let's see. Right, so there is no animation right now, and okay, everything stops. Okay, fine. So this thing is working fine. Our player is jumping, and whenever it hits, I get this game over thing, and my object spawning stops. My background movement stops when the game gets over. So we are good up till here. So next thing is to actually animate my player so that it looks more realistic. So for that, what we're going to do is uh, we want to click on my player, and you will see that there is an animator component attached. I'll just minimize all others. You can see animator component. Then we can actually click on this particular controller to see this animation window. Let me make it a bit bigger. You see there are a lot of animation states. So animation states, to understand simply, it's kind of a keyframing thing. So basically, you are recording a particular character or a particular game object. You are defining different transform positions. Say for the legs, I'm defining my a leg forward and a leg backwards, and I'm interpolating between those two time frames, and so I'm pre-recording small clips of these movements, right? And then we want to just play it along based on some condition. So if I press the space bar, it should play the jump uh, state. If I am walking, then it should play the walk animation. If I so in some of the first-person shooter games, you have an option to run as well. If you press Shift, your player will start running. So you want to trigger a run animation, right? Or there are a lot of other animations. So suppose you are pointing a gun or you are making a knife attack, then your hand needs to move in certain way so that it looks like you are actually attacking or moving the knife around. And suppose your health is down, you are reviving yourself, then you can see a hand with an injection and you are putting it in the other hand. So all these things are sort of pre-recorded clips which are played at a specific time, not at a specific time or at a specific condition, right? So if you look at the layers, there are different layers. Okay, I am hearing my own voice. I think someone is not on mute. Okay, it's fine now. Okay, so there are different layers of my animation, right? So yeah, so in the movement thing, or say suppose you want to look at some object, then you have a state for say the head, or for if you can have an idle state as well. So you have like idle hand on hips. Suppose you are waiting for someone, right? So I let me just quickly show you something out of this. Yeah. So there is a website called Mixamo from Adobe, I think Mixamo. So you can actually find lot of predefined and pre-rigged characters with animations. I'll just go to animations and you can see what it will. So basically, it's an animation. So they've created a character. So defeated. If I click here, you see this moving. So you see, it's just like a small clip with all the different orientations of the hand, elbow, all the joints. So basically, we are giving different transforms at different points in time, and we are just recording that clip and playing it over and over again. So suppose you want to look at say jumping down, so you can use this. Say for a jump animation, if you want to have in a game, basically we would like to have that in a first person shooter kind of a game. Then suppose you want to have a still dancing animation, so basically you can just take this animation and apply to any of your character which has the same bone structure. Okay, so that bone structure thing is not a part of this course, but you can actually look at uh, Google it, or maybe there are a lot of videos on YouTube how to set it up. So basically, you can define your own character with the specific bone structure, uh, and you can apply any of these animations. So there are a lot of animations. So suppose dancing, let's say shooting. So I click on shooting. There has to be somehow, yeah, shooting pistol, shooting gun, shooting arrow. Right. So it takes out the bow and it is now being shot. Okay. And there are different characters as well. So you can choose any of the character. Okay, not shooting. You can choose any character, use it, just drag and drop, export in your and use it in your game, right? So let's say this character, and with this character, we can apply any kind of animation on top of him, because animation does not depend on the visuals of the character. So he's currently playing that arrow wala animation, right? If I go to animations and I change, then this character will play all the other animations. Say jumping down, Capoeira. Capoeira, I think, is that martial art form. If you have played Tekken 3, there is this Eddie Guerrero. He does that. And I think there is a player in my Mortal Kombat, if you have played that game. So it's a free site. You can just download, sign. I think you need to sign up as well. Just click on download. Okay, you don't need to sign in for download. You can download this whole character along with the animations, or you can just download the animation based on, and there is a specific format, FBX for Unity format that you can use. Something went wrong again, but you can, I'll just put this website in the chat so you can figure out later on. Yeah, so that's what this is for animation. You can have different layers. You can activate different layers based on the condition in the game. So currently, we will just look at the movement script, because the current game is all about player moving and jumping, right? So basically, there are different states and they are connected through different transitions. Say, suppose this is my idle state. It is in the origin color. That means the default state is the idle state, right? And if I look at one of these arrows, you see the transition over here. Okay, let me just see the inspector window and make it smaller. So there's a transition, right? So basically, up to this particular point, grenade throw. So this is the transition between the idle to grenade throw. Suppose I press a specific key which should throw the grenade. Then on that press, I will do the throw grenade method, and I will also trigger this particular action, transition to grenade throw based on a condition parameter over here, right? So there are different parameters that can change, trigger these transitions between different states based on our uh, uh, condition of the game, right? So basically, it will transition from your grenade throw to idle and back, right? This one is from idle to grenade throw. This is the time you are taking to transition over. Okay, so basically, you want it to very quick transition, which is not realistic, or maybe a slower transition. You can adjust all of that. Okay, so let's see. So what for our game is we want is our player is currently static. So what do you want to do is we first of all maybe we have to make the static walk static, or maybe run static and make it the default state. So it will become orange. So basically, when I start my game, it will be in the running state, and for it to run, actually, I have to set the parameter speed f to maybe 1.0, right? And this should be fine. And if I click on run static, let me see what. So speed is actually one currently, right? And if I save it and let me run my game, then we will see how it looks like, whether it is working or not. Yeah, so see, now this you can see there is a bar over there, which is say it is running this particular condition loop because we have not triggered any transition conditions, right? So repeatedly it is running this particular animation clip, which is run static even after dying. Okay, so this thing is working fine, and we have given it a speed, but you can actually see that there is kind of a mismatch. It appears to be a mismatch, or I think it is fine. Yeah, right. So the speed of the legs, how fast they're moving, and how fast my character is moving across the uh, space. So to match that, I can actually play along with the speed. Let's make it zero point 0.7, the speed parameter of this state. So the node is called a state, and the edges are the transition, or basically uh, the events on which this state should be transferred or transitioned to this state. On what condition the arrow depicts that. Okay, so now I've made the speed. So let's make it zero point 0.2, so it is visibly different. And let's see. I think the leg speed should be a bit slower. Okay, okay. This is not working at all, but it looks pretty cool. Like he's moonwalking or something. Okay, so I think the one was fine, or one was fine. Let's keep it at one. Okay, so now this is fine. But if we see that even on when it's running, that is fine. But when I want to jump in air as well, it is also running. The player is running, but there should be a different. And now this is amazing. Okay, nice. So we want to trigger the jump animation when I think there is a jump animation in the animation controller. So you can do the middle click and pan it and scroll it to zoom. So there has to be a jump animation, grenade throw, walk, run, entry. I don't see a jump animation, but I could see a parameter for jump. Yeah, there is a trigger for jump. Okay. So what we can do is whenever we are pressing the space bar, I can change this particular parameter. So basically in Unity, whatever you see on the screen in any of the windows, everything is completely controllable from a script. And that's how you want it, right? You will not be switching the values in the inspector when the game is being played. So you want to access the animator component just like we access the rigid body component and change some values over there, right? And if you look at the character, I think we have source file miscellaneous, and this is the character animation controller. Now this is the humanoid IK, which is actually taking care of my hand movements, right? It is already rigged character, so we don't have to worry about how my palm will be pointed if I move something or move my hand. Okay, so we want to trigger the jump animation or the jump effect. We can trigger this particular value. It's a parameter of type trigger. Basically it's a bool which could be either true or false. Okay, so we have to go to our player controller script, and we are making the player jump whenever I press the keyboard spacebar. So here only I would like to make him jump. So what I'll do is I have to set the trigger parameter of my animator component. So first of all, I need to define a component to get the reference of the animator from my player, right? So, and of course, as you must have guessed by now, this animator thing is a component which you can add from here, add animator, right? Animation or animator, they're two different things. So it's a predefined class in Unity. So you can actually access it through the get component feature. So I'll first of all have to define it, what private, because we will be accessing it from the script. So we are making it private. Uh, so I'll do it private, and it is of type animator. This is the last one, animator, and it is say what player animator, so that we know the name. Okay, now it's in dark, say a lighter shade of blue because there are zero references for all these game objects of these variables, there are say three references, and one reference, and you can actually see them. Okay, so there is no reference because we have not accessed it yet. So what I'll do is I'll just like the above rigid body, I'll do player animator is equal to same thing, get component and of type animator, and of course there is one animator component, so it will by default get this animator component, and this is done. And when the game starts, before the game starts, this variable will hold reference to the actual animator component which is attached to the player, because this script is attached to the player, right? Player, or basically the game object which is jumping from the obstacles, right? And in update, what I want to do is whenever I press the spacebar, I want to trigger the uh, jump animation or set the trigger for. So I can just do player animator, right? Player animator dot set trigger, set trigger, set trigger is a function, because you can, so there are see different functions, set bool. Let me just do so set bool, set float. So if there is a parameter which is of type float, you can pass its name and set it. Okay, and if there is a bool, you can set that. You can set all other things, set integer if there is a parameter which is of type integer, right? So set trigger is what you want to use, set trigger. And so basically it is by default is jump underscore trig. So the name has to match. So let me just go back and quickly check what is the name of my variable. Yeah, jump trig, right? Now it will jump that. It will trigger this component, and yeah, that should be pretty much it. Let's see if this works. So while jumping, it should trigger the jump animation. So when I click on play and I jump, the animation should be different. Yeah, so it is not. Ah, nice. So it is actually transitioning between walk and jump. Nice. So it is jumping. This is fine. And see, by default, it is the trigger become is unchecked, and when I jump, it will become checked, and then again it will, I think, go back to unchecked. So I'm jumping. Okay, but I need to, I think, select my player or the animator component. So exit, run, walk, idle, grenade, throw. Cool, this is working. And now we will have to fix the jump animation, because I think in our case it is actually finishing before it lands. So we might have to slow down the speed of the jump animation. See, it finishes, I start paddling my legs before. Okay, I hit. And if I jump, yeah. So I can, what I can do is I can just go to the, so I can go to jump. So basically in jumping, there are multiple states, and we have to. Right, so their standing jump has a different animation, walking jump has a different animation, running jump has a different animation, and we have this running jump, right? So in the running jump, if I reduce the speed to say for 0.5 and let's see, then it should work fine. Okay, so let me play it once, and now my jump should be, oh, almost perfect. Almost perfect, yeah. So 0.5 is working for me. So based on your speed, see, this is now currently running and it is switching between the jump animation. Yeah, see, now it is jumping. And if I increase the speed to say any other value, now say 1.1, now see, this will quickly finish. Okay, let me just zoom. So now it is in the run state. If I jump, see, the bar is loading very fast. So this is showing the speed of the animation. So now again I click on this and make it say zero point 0.1 just to show you guys. And again click, see, it is slowly going. It is still in the run jump state. The animation, my legs are like I'm jumping and all. Okay, now you can see the flow as well. So better I'll just change it to, I think, zero point 0.6 should be fine. Let's see once. If I jump now, you must exit the framework to save the scene. Okay, cool. So I've made all these changes in play mode and they will not be saved. So as soon as I click on this button, this will go back to, I think, whatever it was. Okay, now it will be saved. Point 0.6, and let's see how this works. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna die. Yeah, okay. Cool. This is working fine. Yeah, so basically you can see it over here. So from the run state, I am switching over to the jump state based on this transition. So that's why we need to set the jump trigger is here. So basically all the parameters that I want to use in any of my animation layers, I will define it over here. And based on which condition, what transition is being made, I will define over here, right? So the condition is jump trigger. When the trigger is pressed, I jump. This transition happens. So if I click on the lower one, this transition, you will see from running to jumping, and the conditions are jump trigger. So this is how you can define your own variables and set the conditions in the inspector window and trigger those conditions based on the conditions of your game, or maybe say like you're jumping or shooting, or you get hurt, or you die. So you'll see the die animation in some time, right? So if you are not able to fix the jump animation just based on the speed, you can try changing the mass of the player, the force, and the gravity modifier. So in my player controller, I have all of this. So I have this jump force. You can play around with this so that the moment you press spacebar, it triggers the jump animation, and it lands exactly at the point where the jump animation ends. So just to fix that, otherwise it's fine. Okay. So let's move on to the next. So now currently whenever I hit an obstacle, everything remains as it is, and the movement of the background and the obstacle stops, and my player also stops. But the player was not moving anyway, but he can still jump. But we want to trigger a death animation or a falling animation, right? So if you go to the layers, there has to be a death animation. So we have, say, different types of deaths. So basically different types of, say, suppose a player getting hit by a bullet has a different animation. A player getting hit by a car has a different animation. A player falling from a building will have a different animation. So you can club all these states together in different groups, and you can trigger different actions animation based on this sum of the parameters. Okay, yeah. So entry, yeah. So if I maybe look at this particular transition, so basically it is like death B. So first of all, you have to, there are two conditions. Set the death B to be true. It's a bool. Death means the name of the parameter. Underscore B is a way to identify what kind of parameter it is. So jump underscore trig means the jump kind of variable is of type a trigger. Animation int underscore int. So the name is animation, int is one. And speed f is speed is the name of the variable, f is the float. Just to identify that it is of type float. Okay. So there are different kind of deaths you can trigger. So there are like if you want to trigger death number one, so the death type int variable should be equal to one, death b should be true, right? And suppose I want to trigger death number two, then okay, there is no condition. Basically from death to you transition to okay, death to okay, and you are dead. Okay, so basically it will play some sort of a shaking body animation and say after some time you will be dead, so there will be no movement. So they have kept it like that. Okay, so now to trigger a falling animation, and when do we want to trigger the falling animation? Whenever I get hit. So basically in which script? On collision, yeah, on this script, on collision enter, right? Whenever my game gets over, here I have to trigger the uh, death animation, right? Because here only I'm dying. Death animation, right? So what I'll do is I already have the reference of my player animator, and there is an already a component for the death thing to work, and it we have already seen. Say falling, we don't want to trigger the falling thing. We just want to trigger the death type. You can actually play around with different states or different states, animation states. So I want to trigger what say death one, and the death one happens by from alive, death b should be true and death type int should be equal to 1. So what I can do is after my game gets over, I can just quickly write player animator dot set bool, because death b is of type b, and what parameter, so it has two, it takes two arguments. animator set bool, which parameter I want to set, or maybe the name of the parameter, which in our case it is death underscore b, and what value I want to set it to true or false, right? So I'll do death underscore b, and I'll set it to true because it's game over, and I want to set it to true, right? Then again, I have to trigger the type of death that I want, so I will do set int. I think yes, set integer, and the argument same thing. It will take to what where parameter to change and what is the value to assign. So it is like death type underscore int, and I want to assign the value of 1, right? Let's see how my player dies now. So we let us be here. Okay, so maybe this should trigger something once my player dies. Okay, so it is currently in alive state. See, alive is moving around. Okay, it is in alive, and now I die. See, now it is kind of hit. Okay, so death 1 and dead 0 1. Now let's see. I want to change this to death 2. How will that look like? Okay, so I have changed it to 2, and now see how it. So basically, all these layers are working together. So one is taking care of the movement, one is taking care of my head and all, one is taking care of the jumping thing, right? So in the death, the default state is alive, and I can trigger. So currently we'll be triggering that too. Okay, so let it be. Let's start. I've set the parameter to 2, and now this thing should work. So let me jump this one over and not jump now. Okay, so it falls ahead and it is dead now. Okay, fine. This looks good. So now if I click on spacebar, my player can still jump. This is kind of a bug that should not happen, right? See, it is still jumping. Looks like we're trying to revive him out of death, but this should not work. So what we can do is we can actually use a so in the jump script, I am is on ground. We are testing, but we can actually test if the game is not over, right? So we already, I think, have a yes. Is game over? If my game is not over, then only I should be able to jump. So it's very simple. I can just add one more condition, and this could be is game over is equal to false, right? Right. So if my game is not over, then only I should be able to allow to jump. So let me save it and run it for you. So if I click now and let me die really quickly, I die and I press spacebar, nothing is happening. See, it's not jumping anymore. Right. So this is working. So now a better way to do this is so we have already defined this thing is a bool, right? And we want to say is not game over. I'll just put a not condition on this. So this will mean that if this thing is equal to false, that means it's not game over. Okay, so just it's just a not operator in front of the bool. So whatever this value is, I will take the not of that and then check for the condition. So if this is true, then this whole thing becomes false, right? This whole thing becomes false, then this whole thing becomes false, then I am not able to jump, right? So basically, when my game gets over, I will not be able to jump. That's it. And when this thing is true, sorry, this thing is false, this whole thing becomes true. That means this whole thing becomes true, and I should be able to jump. So basically, when my game is not over, I'm not dead. Then I keep on playing and jumping through over the obstacles. Once the game gets over, that means I've already hit an obstacle. Then this parameter will become false, and I will not be able to jump. Okay. So these simple if and conditions you can use, and not conditions you can use for triggering different behaviors in your game. Okay. So far, we have learned about animation controllers, animation states, animation layers, right? Parameters, different transitions to different states. Okay. Uh, and we also saw how can we trigger these animations from the script by setting the speed, setting the trigger, setting a bool, and setting an integer for death type. Where is death type? Yeah, death type int. It is here. We can change it. So currently it is 2 because I have in the script I have made it 2, right? Okay. So now next is the main part of this unit is how to add sound effects and animations. So let me just quickly reshare because I don't think my audio is shared with you or not. I'll click on share, I'll select this, and audio is also shared. So I'll select entire screen, also share system audio, done shared. Let me know if you guys are able to hear. Okay, I'm not able to click. Okay, select the screen first. Awesome. So I've shared it again. I hope you should be able to hear the sound. Okay, cool, cool. Let me share the screen. Okay. This is fine. The next is we want to trigger. So basically, we have already implemented all the basic functionalities of our game. Now we are just adding some, say, add-ons or like some better features to it, so that it looks good, it sounds good, and it triggers some kind of engagement or fun in the player or in our users. Okay. So your functionality was to just keep on jumping and avoiding obstacles. That was done, but without sound effect, without the background moving thing, without the jumping animations or the running animations, and of course some other effects, visual effects. This will not be a production ready game. Okay. So now we would like to look at how to trigger some of the effects, right? So I can hide this window, I can focus on my player, press F, it is here. Okay, cool. So what I want to do is, there is a, in the course library, you can see a window with special effects or F. Not FX, source file is not there. This one, then obstacles, sound, particles. So we can go to particles and we can choose the explosion smoke effect. All right, let's see. See, this is my effect, and I can restart the effect. This is how it looks like. Okay, and basically where my effect is. So it is basically inside my player. So my particle effect will start from here. Right, I can play, and this is how it looks like a explosion thing. Okay, so if I click on play and let's see. uh, right, so I have to uncheck this play on awake thing to make it. So they have a lot of properties to play around. Okay, so maybe I'll just restart the explosion from here. I can look at the duration, start delay, start lifetime, 3D start size, play on awake is already unchecked. Emitter velocity mode, max particles, so I can make it just 5. So I will see only 5 particles coming out from here. Right? If I click on play, see only 5 particles. And the speed range is this, playback time is this. There are a lot of properties. Show only selected, resimulate. Okay, then emission, there are different, even I don't know what all these properties are. You can set some triggers to trigger the animation when something happens, right? Velocity over lifetime. Yeah, so this is your homework to figure out what are all the components in particle effects, how to use them. Start color, you can change the color. The start color, we want to have a green color. Let's see how this works now. Yeah, okay. So my particles are now green color, right? Gravity source is 3D physics. Simulation space is world. I can use local. Then it should be within my player only. Let's keep it as world. So this is how my, and I can let me change the particles. There has to be something called particle size. Max particles is, let's make it then 1000. And if I click on say play, see, I can, and they are green colored. But let's make it restart. And the timer is how long? Time is, where is the time? Start lifetime, start speed 4 to 6. What is that? But random between two constants, random between two curves. Start delay, start lifetime. Duration is zero point 0.5 seconds. Okay, so it is being played for zero point 0.5 seconds. Uh, okay, when it is resetting, particles. Okay, and all my particles goes away. So basically, there is something called particle system, and to let me select any other game object to add your particle system, you can just add particle system, select it, and you get all the properties, and you can play around with that. Okay, you can actually tweak the size of the particles, the type of in which direction they are flowing, right? So I think there is an assignment in this unit only where you will have to make a jet or a spaceship, and on one of the so it has like engines which is thrusters which, from where the flame should come out, and it will push the rocket in the opposite direction. So there you have to play around with the particles to make it look like the fire is coming out from that end, and it is pushing the uh, spaceship in the other direction. So basically there is a predefined thing for you to use which is called particle system, right? So basically what I want to do is I want to make it a child because I want to trigger this effect from within my player itself. So now currently it is placed at this particular point. I can actually move it somewhere, and now if I play, then it will start from this position, not from this position. So there is a concept of parent and child in Unity, and not just in Unity. There's a this is if you have heard of nested looping, then if you have worked on like 3D modeling software, so you have a root object and there are a lot of parent objects of that. So basically, if you look at my player, there are a lot of components, right? Individual. If I focus on them, it is not a single body component. There are a lot of things. Say hips. Then there is a spine joint one, spine joint two. This is all required for the animation thing. So my parent object is this one, and all the child will follow whatever my parent does. So similarly, and see, this is the character farmer. I think it is just the skinned mesh renderer. So basically, just the look and feel component. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to actually make this thing a child of my player game object, so that it is always triggered from my okay. And since it has this transform, so what I'll do is I'll just make it a 0 0, or maybe just do control Z, control Z, control Z. Yeah, so now where is my smoke? Control Z, control Z. Yeah, so smoke explosion is now okay, 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 okay. Yeah, yeah, fine. So now my smoke explosion has Y only is in this direction, so that it is at the center of my player, and now I can make it the child of my player game object. So basically, I can just drag and drop inside this. So now I can see it over here. So now wherever I move my player, the explosion effect will be there with him. See, it's there, and I am moving this around. Okay. So if I move my player to this position, and if you look at the position smoke, the x direction is not changing. Why? Because whatever the transform is, it is with respect to their parent. So all these other game objects, they do not have a parent. So they are the parent itself, they are the root object. So if you move them around, their XYZ will change. But if you move the parent object and you look at the child object, their XYZ will always remain same unless you are moving them individually. So if I move them, then only it will change, right? And if I now move my player, then this will follow, right? So I just make it 0. So basically, the transform will give you the transform of the parent object all the time. So the Z is 0, but actually my player is at a different Z. Z is 0, of course, but X is 2.95. But for my explosion effect, it is 0 because this all the transform is with respect to the player, with respect to the root object. Okay. So this is one thing. Now what we want to do is
Can we use the same method when we were to follow the camera with our player and the first assignment?
really good question. Let me try that out. But I'm not moving my player. Yeah. So if I attach main camera is at but this position. If I make the child of my player, and if I click on play and I make my player move, then will my camera move with my player or not? Let me select player. Okay, it died, but no problem. I can select player and I can
Here
select
player
F.
is not moving right. Here player is not moving right. Here
No, no,
only
I
the
am
back.
moving. No, no, it's working. Player is moving. See, the camera is also moving, as in I am making the player move. But I think better would be to do that follow thing because it can mess up with the FPS thing. So based on the compute capability of your system on which you're running the game, there could be a lag between the frames that are being rendered and your camera being following that. So the better way could be to do that, uh, where you are doing that follow the player transform at an offset, and you are doing that update in the late update function. Okay, but really good point. We can actually attach it there. But why are we not doing that? Yes. So now why don't we do that? Suppose my player gets 3 lives, but my first time my player dies, so the camera also will die, and the camera dies, then my game is gone. You will not see anything. See, nothing is there. So when my player dies, this will go away. So because the main camera has a lot of other things, which takes, so it has that event system which is kind of taking care of all the different activities that are going behind the scene, right? When we will be looking at this VR game or VR setup, then the camera itself holds a lot of functionalities, say for the tracking the user in the world, keeping track of all the say the head rotations, your hand movements, your controller movements. Then it is the camera only is responsible for triggering that ray. So there is a concept of ray interaction. So you can actually shoot a ray from any pixel to any pixel, so to have that 3D interaction with the world, right? So there are a lot of important components which are part of the camera. So, but if you attach it to the player dies, the camera will go for, your whole game will go for a toss. Okay, so that's why we make it follow in the way we did it in the last time. But good question. Right. So our goal is to actually trigger the particle effect whenever my player is getting hit, right? So I want to trigger a particle effect. So whenever my player is dying, I want to trigger the particle effect or the explosion effect. So to do that, again, as I mentioned, anything which you see in the Unity screen, any of the windows, everything is accessible through script, right? And that's the correct way of interacting or maybe setting the behaviors. So let me just see if everything is all right. I see the main camera over there. I see, okay, my player is jumping. There are animations. Okay, died. And it is playing a death animation. Okay. So what I'll do is I want to trigger the effect when I hit an obstacle. So I've written this code in the, yes, on collision enter. Here I want to do what? So if I hit an obstacle, I want to trigger that thing. Trigger explosion effect. Explosion effect. Right. So to trigger explosion effect, what I want to do is I want they in my player I have this particular component, right? Explosion particle effect. Okay. I have this explosion particle effect as a component of the player, like this. No, not here. It's a child game object. Okay. So what I want to do is I can define a variable which can store the reference to this particular particle system. So again, I'll just go here and define a public. Why do we want to do it public? Because it's not a component, it's a child. It's a different game object, which is a child of my current object. So what I want to do is I can drag and drop into my public variable, just like we did for those spawn random animal prefabs. I added the game object there, right? So I'll create a public, and it is of type particle system because it's a class, predefined class. You see it in the green color, and I would like to call it explosion particle system. Let's call it explosion PS, right? And what I want to do is I want to trigger what I want to play. So basically, this button is called play. So similarly, we'll use the so this. If I select this, then I see this option. I can click on play. Same thing I want to do. I want to do this explosion dot play. That's it. And when I want to play it here, so I'll do what was our name? Explosion PS dot play. Play. Fine. This is done. That's it. We are good to go. So if I now click play, the explosion effect will play or not play. Quickly answer that. If I click play and I hit an obstacle, will the explosion effect take place or not? Nothing will happen. We'll get an error. unassigned reference. Why? Because I have not assigned it to my player. And if you see over here, explosion effect, nothing is there. So I want to drag and drop this over here. So we have defined the variable name, the variable type, but we have not given a actual object to make it work. Now it will work. So now if I jump, it's fine. I can jump from here and jump from this one as well. And when I hit, oh yeah, green. Let's make it red. Okay, so that it looks realistic and painful. Let's make it, give it the bruise color. Make it red, or you can play around with, if you have the knowledge of colors, you can directly put the hex code over here. You can play around all of this. You can actually have the transparency thing. But I don't care about all of this, so it should be fine. So now it is of red color. It should be red. If I click on play, now it is red. It is looking really painful. That is fine. And yeah, cool. This is done. So the next thing I want is that I want my player. So first of all, let me change the color of the ground, because the next effect we want to add is that whenever my player is running, I want to actually trigger some mud, like just like you're running in a muddy ground, so you will be throwing away mud while you are running. So I want to give that effect to my player. When it is running, it should throw away some mud from here. So let's do that. So for that, I think there is already a visual higher dirt splatter effect is already there. So let me put it in my scene. If I select C, it is already there. Some nice thing. So it has been positioned to the ground by itself, right? And it is throwing in this backward direction, because and my player is moving in that direction. So I can just assign it to my player, right? So similarly, we will make it child object of my player, and everything looks fine. But it is a bit behind. Why is that? When I Okay, let's see how this will work, and we'll do the same thing. So basically, whenever my player is on the ground, I will trigger the dirt splatter effect, and whenever he's jumping, I will stop that effect. So you see, pause, play, and stop button. So basically, I'll play whenever I'm on the ground, and I'll stop whenever I'm not on the ground. Where basically, when I'm jump, I'll stop. When I'm on the ground, I'll just play it. Okay. So I will go back to my script again. I will just copy paste this, because we have to say dirt, like just calling it dirt PS. You can name whatever you want, or dirt particle effect, or it's completely up to you. Just it should make sense, and you should not forget what did you name your variable. Okay, so I want to on collision enter is on ground, is on ground, is on ground. Yeah, is on ground is false. So whenever I am jumping, I will just do what? Dirt ps dot stop, right? Because it's in the air, it should not work. And whenever I am on the ground, it should start play. Okay, so is on ground true. So basically, wherever my ground is on ground is true, I want to make it play the dirt ps. Basically, play. Yeah, right. And whenever my game gets over, then I also want to stop the dirt ps dot stop. Let's see how this works. So what we have done is we have created a new variable of type particle system. The name is dirt particle system, and this is to create an animation where I'm running on the ground. It is throwing dirt back. Whenever I jump, it should not throw any dirt, and whenever I again land on the ground, it should start throwing dirt. Right. So whenever I am jumping, I am stopping the dirt particle effect, right? And whenever I am landing on the ground, so basically collision, whenever my player collides with the ground, I am making is on ground true, and same I am making it to play the effect, right? So basically, while we are on the ground running, it will keep on playing, and whenever I hit an obstacle, my game gets over. I am stopping the dirt effect. Let's see if this works or not, and or whether we need to fix something. I think we have to move it towards a bit of right so that it actually looks like it is coming from his feet. Okay, why the dirt is keep on playing? Because okay, my player is on the ground. Yeah, right, right. Okay, or maybe we can see if the play on awake is there. Okay, so play on awake means if your game object is in the scene, so there is a whole hierarchy of inbuilt functions. There is an order of execution. So awake is called before the start function, right? So maybe if I click on this, then it should not play. Let's see what this means. If enabled, the system will start playing automatically. Note that this setting is shared between our particle system in the current particle effect. Okay, let me click on play, and when I am on the ground, it should spatter dirt. It's not happening. Why it is not happening? You can see the error message over here. The same thing we did. So in my player, in my dirt particle system, nothing is attached. So I have to drag and drop this thing over here. Now it will start working. I'll clear all the errors and then run. See, now the dirt is being thrown, but uh, it is coming from far behind. To fix that, I'll select my dirt splatter particle system, move it closer to the feet of the player so that it looks real. Right now, if I click on play and everything is right, and we have to see if it is, yeah, now it is perfect. Now if I jump, it is not running. Okay, cool then. But see, now it is still, okay, why it is still playing? Because when my game gets over, I actually wrote it to not that stop. Yeah, but why still? Because this animation is playing and this is not. Why is that? This animation is done. Yeah. Why it is not stopping? To stop. Okay, let me stop this game. Let me see if this is fixed. This is fixed. Okay. And the play on awake is also false. This is also play on awake. Yeah, cool. So let me play again. Let me save it and let me play it again. So on jumping, it is stopping. On dying, yeah, it is stopping now. Okay, fine. It was not saved. That's it. So we are almost at 8. We are past 8, but we have just two, I think, three more steps to do. So basically, we are done with our effects. We want to add now some music to our game, right? So for doing that, it's really simple. Just like we did for particle system, same thing for music system. For playing any music or sound, we have to just play and pause based on our requirements. So I'll quickly show you that how to do that. So now whatever we want to actually add a background music to our game. Okay. So for that, there is again a predefined component, and I'll add this component to my main camera. I can just click on say audio source, and I see there is an audio source. It needs an audio clip, right? So we can go to my, so there are predefined music clips in my course library, sound, and basically you have to go to music clip, right? So let's see if this works. I'll go to this and I can drag and drop. I'll just camera, audio clip, maybe this one, and maybe I can reduce, where is the volume is one. Let me make it like 0.5, and let's see if we hear some sound. I don't hear a sound. Why is that? Okay, we have to click on the loop checkbox, and let's see if this works now. Uh, 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 uh. Do you guys hear music? or not? Are you hearing any music? Or maybe this is because of
Yes.
the.
Yeah, we are hearing.
So the thing is, you guys are hearing, but I'm not able to hear. There's some. I think I have to switch my audio to stereo or maybe AG. Let me see now. I still don't hear anything. Why is that? So stereo should work. Yeah, but I should also hear the sound. I have shared the system sound with you, but I only am not. I don't hear anything. So you guys are hearing, no? You guys are able to hear a sound, right?
Yeah, we are able to hear.
Then fine. So that means it's working. I thought why it is not working. Loop will keep on repeating because the audio clip is going to be really small, say for a 10 or 12 seconds, but it needs to keep playing as a background music, so we have put on loop. Just like you can put a song on loop, same thing. And playing on awake means just whenever I start my game, you start playing the audio, so that we do not need to control it by code because it's a background music. So whenever my game is on, like you keep playing the music. That's it. You can actually trigger a different audio clip based on the condition when I die. So some a sad music maybe once the player dies, and you can trigger that and stop this one. So we will see how to do that. So let me save it. And now we want to add basically two more sound. Once when my player jumps and another one when my player crashes. So for that, what I can do is I can go to my player controller, okay, and assign some audio clips over there. Right, so maybe I'll just go to my player controller because all of the music needs to be triggered my player. So just like everything else, if I go to main camera or maybe any other game object, you can just add say audio clip. You can see audio clip, audio source. So this is all it's a predefined feature, or you can say a class in Unity, and again it is also accessible through the script. So I'll go to my player script. I'll define one more variable which should hold my public uh, audio clip, audio clip, and it is say what? This is going to be my jump sound, and I want a similar thing for my crash sound. Right, this is done. Then I want to actually play it and pause it based on my activity, based on my game activity, right? So what I'll do is I want to play the jump sound when I jump, so I'll just play this thing. The trigger spacebar is ground fault, so I'll just play this thing. So what is my name? Jump. Jump sound dot play. Play. Yeah, we cannot. We have a so this thing is just a clip, right? It's an audio clip, but to play we need the audio source. So you have a music clip, but to play that you need a music player. Just like that, we have to create a uh, audio player thing to my. I have to add an audio source to my player component, right? Maybe just so our player needs to have a audio source, and in the audio clip I can keep on assigning these two repeatedly. Okay, so first of all, I should get the reference. Before this, I'll define or not public because it's already a component, so I can access it using the get component thing. So private audio source, and we can call it player audio. Okay, and I need to get its reference in the start function itself. So I'll do this is equal to get component because it's a component. Get component of type audio source, and that's it. Right now I can use this thing to play our, so I can not jump sound. I can do instead this. I can just select player audio, which is my audio source, and dot play. Play one shot means play once, and I can pass on the name of the audio clip. So I want to play what jump sound, right? That's it. And whenever I crash, what I want to play is I'll just write play crash sound. Okay, play crash sound. So again, I will do what player audio dot play one shot. There are different other things, but we want play one shot. Play one shot, and what I want to play, the name of that clip is, or basically the audio clip, the variable. It is expecting a audio clip and the clip actual clip, right? So basically, I've already created a variable called crash sound, and it should hold a reference to a clip, right? So this is done. It should work right now with a bit of work. Work as in we have to actually assign the audio clips in that parameter in the. So in my player, if I go to player controller, it is looking for crash sound audio clips. So I can go to my course library and go to sound, SFX, crash. There are three. You can. I will show you a website. And you can just Google it, right, for downloading. So basically, I'll do jump one and crash one. So I have now actually attached two specific clips to my audio clip uh, variable, right? So now let me save it and play it, and you let me know if you hear the sound. So you should be hearing two different sounds, and like so this now you should be hearing the background music. If I jump, you should hear the jump and crash both together. Were you able to listen to it, or maybe I'll just reduce the sound volume of the crash. Now I'm playing it again. You let me know if you are able to hear all these. Yeah. Okay. I'll go to my player, and the volume for the audio source is quite high. So what I've done is I have reduced the volume of the background music, and the volume for these two clips is at 100%. Basically, the volume is controlled by the audio player. So audio source is like audio player, and this is at 100%. So let me know if you guys hear this sound. Jump sound. Did you hear that? Did you hear the sound, guys?
Crash sound is good.
Crash sound you heard, but you did not hear the jump sound, right? Okay. So the documentation says you can actually pass a parameter as well. So if I comma, it says clip float volume scale. So basically the same thing. Play at 10f. So basically play this audio clip at 100% volume. Or if you can pass say zero point 0.5, it will be like 50% volume. Same thing we can do over here. If I put comma, you can see audio source play one shot, audio which clip you want to play, and the float volume scale. And so audio clip and then scales the audio source volume by the volume scale. So let me do it one, and let's see if you can hear now. So what I'll do is maybe I'll just reduce the volume of completely for my zero. So we'll not hear the background music, but let me know if you can hear the jump sound and the crash sound. Can you hear the jump
Yeah,
sound?
we can hear.
Then let me crash. Crash sound is also there.
Yeah, it is there.
Okay, then cool. So now
So
let me
how are
just.
you adjusting the audio for the crash and jump?
So basically, the crash and jump are handled by the audio source attached to the player game object. It has this property of volume. Either you can set it over here, or you can do it from the script. So player audio play one shot can take two parameters. One is the which clip to play and at what volume to play. So if I click here and you hover over it, you will see audio source, audio clip to be played, and the volume scale, right? So maybe let me go here and put a comma again, then it will show, right? So audio source play one shot, audio clip, and the float like from 0 to 1, the volume scale, the scale of volume. Unity automatically clamps negative 0 to scale, and scale diagonal will cause clipping, might cause clipping. So basically, and scales the audio source volume by volume scale. So basically, if you pass a value between 0 and 1 over here, it will go to the player audio and adjust this value to your thing. So let me show you. So let me play it at zero point 0.5, right? F. Okay. So when I jump, you should see this value go to zero point 0.5. It should go to zero point 0.5, right? So let me save it over here and then play it. Currently, it is at 1. If I jump, it is playing, but it is not. Why it is not changing this volume? Okay, audio source attached, audio clip I am attaching when I'm playing. Uh, oh, okay, I did a private audio source thing. Okay, let me play it again. Let me reduce the volume a bit further to, let's say, 0.3 and the crash volume to 1. So basically, you should be hearing the jump sound at a lower volume and the crash sound at a full 100% volume. Let me know if you can hear that. And you can feel the difference. So I'm jumping, and crashing. Was there a
Yeah, we
difference
were able
between?
to hear.
And the difference was there in the volume?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So basically, you cannot see it over here, but this is doing the same thing essentially. So it is getting the reference to this audio source component, and while playing the clips, it is taking care of the volume. So let me make it one each. Okay. With this, I think we are done. You are left with some challenges and some quizzes and some bonus quizzes as well. So we are done for unit 3. You can actually try out the classwork, like whatever we have done until here, uh, until this point. Everything was from the PDF only, right? And you have a challenge. I think basically you have to kill some, like a fruit ninja kind of a game, or maybe something else. Right. So physics scrolling backgrounds and special effects to a balloon floating through town, picking up tokens while avoiding explosives. Oh, cool! So it's a game where you have to like guide this particular balloon, say from down and up. It should collect the points and it should avoid the bombs. So basically, there has to be a collider. If the collider collision dot game object compare tag is an obstacle, then it will trigger the crash sound, will trigger the particle effect, and it will do you a game over. And if your collider is against a point, so compare tag point, then you increase the pointer by one to get the points value, and just keep on moving. Okay. So that is it. You guys try it out. Tomorrow we'll try to finish unit 4, and then maybe by next week we can work with you guys to fix any problems that you might face or any other issues that you are facing while doing this. Right? So if you have any quick doubts, then we can take it. Otherwise, I would like to call it a day because I have another meeting.
Can we add that audio clip directly to the audio component? Yes,
Yes, you
add.
can. Yes, you can do that. But then, how will you change it? If you want to play just one sound like the background music, then that's the way to do it. Here we want to play different sounds and at different events. So whenever I jump, I want this sound to be played. Whenever I crash, I want this sound to be played. Whenever suppose I secure a point, then I want a third sound to be played. So this way it is more
Yeah,
dynamic, but anyway you can attach. So essentially, it is doing the same thing. So basically, I am storing all my audio clips here, and then basically I am attaching. So player audio, play this music, right? Play this music. Now I am asking it to music player, play this music. That's it for at this volume. And one shot means it will play only once. But you can actually attach, so you can directly drag and drop here in the audio clip section, just like we did in the camera. You can directly drag and drop. But then it will keep playing this only unless you give it a separate clip through the script. So this line of code is actually doing this. This means at okay, it is loading. This means this line means drag and drop this crash sound onto my player audio and play it for once. That's it. What happened to Unity? Huh. So basically, that audio player play one shot clip name is doing essentially the same thing. Drag and drop this particular sound onto it and start playing for and set the volume to one. Cool. Any more questions? Okay, then, guys, thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow again. And you keep working on it. Maybe like we can keep the doubts for the next week so that we can finish. So tomorrow we'll be looking at how to make a UI. So after tomorrow's class, we have I think the almost everything, everything to make a complete end-to-end game with a UI, with a player mechanics, with some sort of collisions, player controls, animations, sound, and effect. So we will be having a complete understanding of how to make our own game, and that is your project to make a unique game. I think before mid-sem. Okay then. Thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow. All the best. Bye bye. Bye bye, Professor Gautam.
Okay, Nick. Bye 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 bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.